Caldwell team, thank you so much for welcoming, or thank you so much for gathering together with us today. Can you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at Caldwell?
Hey, Lindsay, thank you so much. Great to be on here. We did have a bit of an echo there, just so you know, so I don't know if that came through, but
was that 10-second delay?
Yeah, that was exactly it, John. You sound like a master producer. See, you can tell you've been doing all these online virtual tastings. There's no delay for you, it's just for us. So
there's no delay.
Okay.
Not at all, friend. So tell us about who you are. Are you JFC? What exactly is JFC?
Oh, I'm John Caldwell.
What is JFC? Tell where JFC is, why we're here today.
You want my middle name?
This property.
No, not your middle name. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So where is JFC?
Where are we?
Where are we? So we're sitting in our little, what we call our cheese barn, which is our office. And right now, my wife and I are actually hanging out here. It's our younger son took over our main house. He's got a girlfriend now. Anyway, so we run our operation from this great little location, and it's a 123-acre ranch in Napa Valley. Our vineyard is about 60 acres planted. We have a cave, about a 20,000 square foot cave, so it's a big cave with a couple of beautiful little tasting rooms in it. And for us, it's a hell of a lifestyle. For me, it's never been work for about 40 years. Now I got these two assholes to work with, and we have a hell of a good time here. I mean, we just really, I guess, have a pretty good time.
Yeah, all we do is drink.
It's a rough life. Well, so who are these two assholes? Do they have name, or you just like trot them out for appearances?
I guess you better introduce yourself. I forgot your name already.
I am Mario Moreno, and I do sales for Caldwell Vineyards. John kind of threw me a bone about almost 4 years ago, and I still haven't left. Love working for this family. The wines are amazing. The property is amazing. John is a huge legend in Napa Valley because of everything that he brought to the valley. You can probably spend hours and hours just researching Napa Valley, and you probably won't find much about John because he never really liked to be in the limelight up until his wine started getting really good, and his middle name became an F. So
Cool. My name is Jared Seitzer.
He's the new guy here.
I'm the new guy. I've been here. I've been in the wine business about 18 years. I know Mario's been in it that long. If you reach out, if you want to come by the winery, you might end up talking to me on the phone or via email. But Mario is here on the estate, and often we'll be doing the tastings for you. And I'm here to hospitality on the phone, hospitality through our website, and it's pretty cool. So
yeah, so you call, you make a reservation with them, I host you, and John takes your credit card.
that's right.
That works together. Well, no, it was fun. I remember when we met in person about a month ago, Jared, you actually used to work with one of our favorite nonprofits, Wine to Water. So like, it's like this really concentric world that's coming in. But like, let's take it back to Caldwell for just a second. So we know that you've got this amazing tasting room, but lately it's been kind of a pain in the ass to get on an airplane and come to Napa. Everybody's locked down, and for most of 2020, there was no travel. So how has Caldwell adapted? You know, how have you changed your MO to bring people in and let them taste these amazing wines, meet your fantastic people, and help John continue to take all of our money?
Well, who wants to talk about how we've adapted?
So
you guys jumped in and changed things quick.
So one thing that, there's a lot of really good wine in Napa Valley, tons and tons. There's approximately 600 wineries, legal wineries, that is. There's a couple other projects out there that are not necessarily in the completely allowed to be hosting people, but it's the thing that sets, I think, wineries apart is that everybody has good wine, and so it's mostly the experience. So it's kind of hard to translate person to person, and thankfully for Zoom and avenues like this have increased the reach that we can have people where people can reach us and get almost a full tasting room experience through a little TV or a computer. We do send the wines, and we do spend quite a bit of time talking about the wines, but mostly it's more about the experience. Get to know John, get to know the winery. The wines speak for themselves, and as much as people love wine, they don't necessarily want to get all geeky into wine lingo, and they just literally prefer the stories, and it's what pretty much sets, I think, wineries apart, specifically Caldwell.
So tell me a little bit about, what's it like? So are you doing, you do what, 4 tastings a day, 5 tastings a day? They're all by reservation, and that's in person. So what is it like to do a virtual tasting? Is it tough? If I want to bring a group of 20 in, is it tough to make a reservation? What can my attendees expect when they become participants in your world in this virtual environment?
Well, if they've got good hookup, where you don't have to worry about people muting and unmuting and boy, some of the cameras are terrible. It's just like, it's if it's nice and clear like you've got, oh shit, it's like we can't hardly get them off in 2 hours. That's how enjoyable it is when everything works. Mario and I had, was it you when we had to do one on a phone?
Yeah.
Because the electronics wouldn't.
Oh yeah, we had to do it on the phone.
Yeah.
Because the voice didn't work anyway. Yeah, but it's at the beginning when John and I did this, we were kind of like a deer on the headlights, right? Because we're more used to being like in person, and if for anybody that's experienced Caldwell, we do a very different tasting than most people. It's extremely unique. Our wines are very serious. The price points are serious, but the experience is not. It is, as casual as you can be when you're drinking $200-300 bottles of wine. So I like to think that we like to remove the pretentiousness that wine sometimes brings, specifically higher price point wines, and we make it more layman's for anybody to be able to enjoy expensive wine, even if they don't have a great palate.
So
It's
Lindsay,
interesting. Oh, go ahead, Jared.
well, I was just going to say, we lost over 400 reservations last year, right, being closed,
Wow.
Which is obviously a major impact on a business, right? So pivoting to that virtual has been, like Mario said at the beginning, like a deer in the headlight kind of thing. But what we try to bring is, virtual hospitality, right? So it's personable, it's fun. Like Mario said, the wines really speak for themselves, and John has a lot of stories, so those always help out. But it's about connecting with people. So we do try to have one of the things we've found out. We've done more screens than this, but 25 seems to be really nice. We can interact. We can ask people where they're at, what they're having for dinner while they're trying the wines, what they're pairing it with. We've done more than that, but we seem to have a really nice intimate connection that way. So it's pretty cool. We get to taste wine with people all over the country, or even all over the world. We've done some in England and all over, actually.
It has.
So how does that? Go ahead, John.
Well, it's really shrunk the world.
Yeah.
We have smugglers almost in every state of the United States. And by God, they show up. Some people showed up after 10 years not being here because of the Zoom. That's pretty cool.
Smugglers are our club members, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So you kind of have to tell a backstory, because this is one of my favorite things about John, and to know and talk to him, you wouldn't necessarily get this vibe. But the reason they call him the Smuggler, and that one of their wine clubs is a smuggler, is he actually smuggled a bunch of vines from France over the Canadian border, and it was a bunch of rootstock, right, guys? Where in the back of these shoe boxes, he basically ran from the feds across the border, hid them in the barn, and created this whole mystique. And then from there also created just an amazing, palette from Cabernet. You've got this awesome list of varietals. There are so many things from bubbles all the way to Tanat, which I had never heard of before until I came to your vineyard. There's something like, I think Joy was telling me, which is John's wife, 27, 28 wines at any given time someone could partake of, which is great, because from an events perspective, a lot of times people are like, I don't want to drink red wine. I don't want to drink white wine. I only drink bubbles. Doing a tasting with a vineyard as diverse as yours, you really have the opportunity to kind of help set the stage to make everybody feel like they're a part of the experience. So how do we get the wine to them? Like, how did you, in the time when UPS is like, yeah, we don't know if we're going to be able to get you that stuff. How much time does it take from the time that I book an event all the way to getting it over to my mini executives or VIPs doors? And what comes in the magic box that you're sending?
It's a great question. So time frame, I mean, we obviously can do, different types of expedited service, depending on, shipping alcohol is of course a little bit challenging because somebody has to sign for it. Somebody over 21 has to sign for it. So and there's also, of course, it's temperature. We are very concerned about weather. We try to keep our wine. We try to treat it like produce. So we want to get it to you in perfect condition as we work so hard in the vineyard to make the wine. But timing, at least, I would say at least 2 weeks to get the wine, make sure the wine is in your hands. And then, of course, let it rest a little bit and then crack it open for our virtual events. So ideally 2 to 3 weeks. We've definitely done it in shorter amounts of time than that. We can, like I said, use 2-day air, other services. But, and of course we have to make sure we have availability, get you scheduled on the calendar. So, 3 weeks is really ideal, but we definitely can move more quickly than that. We have. And we've done these events for some really great clients, like Twilio was a really fun corporate one that we did. And each person, we sent like 3 bottles of wine to each person, and we cracked those wines open and tasted through them. And John talked his story and told him about how we made the wines. So it's pretty cool.
So from an MC perspective, Mario, is that kind of your role where you're coming in? So a lot of times when I'm putting together, a normal incentive event, we're really kind of plotting who goes where, and I've got my executive coming in. So how does that manage so I don't have to put all of the driving pressure, so it is, in the hands of my senior vice president who's on camera with you? Is that something once we come in and we intro you all, you take the reins and just help us have an incredible experience like we did if we saw you in person? Or what questions should we be asking when we're putting together the program? Or is there a standardized program that this is what works when we have you with us for those 25 screens?
Well, I think we have an advantage over probably any other winery. We have 26 different SKUs of wine that we make.
Crazy.
So we have 7 to 8 white wines, including Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Rosé, and sparkling wine, Champagne from France. And we have around 20 red wines. So we literally can cater to absolutely anybody. We have price points anywhere from $50 to $300. So that would also cater to pretty much any price point. I guess I assume people are probably not going to do a virtual tasting with $25 bottles of wine. So, but yeah, we have a huge array of options to use.
Whatever you want.
And even to keep it on the spirits, we also have our very own apple juice, which is bourbon, and tequila in the works.
You don't have to call it apple juice anymore. It's legal now.
It's bourbon. So we have our own bourbon and tequila. So
and we got
a down
today too. We haven't put this in a legal bottle yet.
That one's not ready yet. So I think Lindsay, we definitely we handle those things on our side. So it's as simple as, hey, I want these 20 people to join us in this virtual tasting on this date at this time. Here's our budget, or here's what we'd like to do. Maybe we want to focus on Cabernet, or maybe we want to focus on Syrahs. So we can put together a little. I'll come back. Basically, it goes through me. I'll come back and say, hey, here's my suggestions. If you guys like that and the budget makes sense, we try to be as flexible as we can.
Yeah.
And then often what happens is an executive assistant or someone will send me an Excel spreadsheet of their addresses, and that's it. From there, I handle it from there and make sure everything's tracked to you. It delivers, in a timely manner, and we go from there. We crack the bottles, and we give you some recommendations if you'd like to do some pairings, that type of thing. Like, hey, these wines would go well with this. Mario will often say, hey, you know what? I recommend, particularly if it's the big reds, decanting this Cabernet for 3 hours because it's a big, full-bodied style red. You want to give it a little air. So we give you some of those little guidelines and directions, but we really do leave a lot of it up to you. Once it's in your hands, we want you to enjoy it. If you don't want to open all the bottles, you don't have to. We're going to have a lot of fun either way.
I like that, like the flexibility options. Sorry, my cat senses there is actually wine in the coffee cup, and she insists on joining us. So I have a bottle from when I came to see you last week in Napa. Go, shoo cat. But yeah, I love that you have flexibility, and you said, you know, every event manager's favorite word, an Excel spreadsheet, and don't worry, we'll take care of it. So bless you for that. You know, one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about is, do you think this is here to stay? You know, John, you were mentioning that people that you haven't seen or talked to and that they haven't come out to the vineyard in 10 years are resurfacing and now becoming, again, a vibrant part of the Caldwell Vineyard family through these virtual tastings. Do you all think virtual's here to stay, or do you think it's going to come back where the majority of the interactions y'all have with your customers are in person?
Do you think it's here to stay?
I kind of think it's here to stay. It's become just along the electronics works so that we come through loud and clear. It's like almost having them right here at the winery. I mean, we get into some discussions that are heavy duty. You know, they're only supposed to be like an hour, hour and a half, and Christ's sake, sometimes it's over 2 hours around this damn thing.
The discussions are almost never about wine.
It's almost never about wine, but everybody is, you know, they get a little buzz on tasting a few wines, and everybody just relaxes and has a great time. Kind of cool. I think it's here to stay.
And I think one of the things that's really cool, Lindsay, is that it's customizable to an extent.
Yeah,
so, like,
you can do whatever you want.
We make a beautiful wine called Rocket Science, and all of a sudden now we're sort of in the space industry. So we've done really cool events with the Astronaut Scholarship Fund, which is really cool. So we send out bottles of wine to their list, and we raise some money for their charity, which is really cool. And then we actually, you know, get a chance to interact with an astronaut. So they bring on a NASA astronaut. We get to talk about. We just did this a few weeks ago. It was awesome.
Yeah,
telling us all the little dirty secrets of NASA.
I learned how to poop on the space station.
I mean,
isn't that cool?
So there you go. That's been
Please
really
never
cool.
change, John.
You mentioned Wine to Water. We have, for those that look on some corporate social responsibility with their, you know, events. It's a really cool way to do that. So we actually make a wine that gives back to that charity and it provides clean water around the world. So we can get on a conference call or a Zoom call with their CEO, Doc, and John knows him well. We can talk and taste some of that wine together. So there's a lot of different factors that we can do. It's pretty cool.
I like that too because, you're totally flexible. Because, like, you know, with Wine to Water, doing a filter build now as a corporate social responsibility, it was already a lot of moving parts. But now pulling it into all these different people's houses, not to saying that we don't want to do the filter build, because that's still an incredibly worthwhile activity. But if we could do that and send wine at the same time, it's basically doubling the donation in addition to hanging out with some incredible people. So I want to take it back. John, tell me, what is some of the craziest stories? What are like one of your top 1 or 2 favorite stories you've heard during these virtual tastings? You don't talk about wine, and you're talking about poop. What else are you talking about, friend?
Well, these guys will answer that.
I mean, it just strikes me kind of odd that we've done probably 40 Zooms, and the one that he can remember is pooping in space.
I thought that was so cool. You got to learn how to do it because you
got to do it upside down.
And remember the one where everybody wanted to try to pee upside down. I thought that was so cool. So they go in there and they just flip themselves over and take a whiz. Gosh,
yeah,
wouldn't that be cool?
And when they go number 2, they got to strap themselves.
So they got to make sure it doesn't get a floater. That's what I love when he called it a floater. Yeah. It was so cool.
You want to ask questions?
What other stories?
I do. Well, no, I mean, because it was like when I was there, we were talking through some of it. And speaking of CSR activities, I heard that one of the corporate teams actually had a running tally unbeknownst to you all. For those that might have figured it out, John and 4 little words are kind of like this. And evidently, he was getting kind of salty on the call, but in a fun way.
Yeah, that is true. So what happened is I think I was on with Twilio. And John had we'd probably been on 20 minutes, and John had probably dropped the F-bomb probably 4 or 5 times at least. So one of the guys was.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
He was texting with me through Zoom, and John didn't know it, and said, "I'm going to count how many times the F-bomb comes up in this conversation, and however many that is, I'm going to donate to charity." So at the end of it, I was like, "That's awesome. We'll match it. We'll donate to charity as well." So at the end of it, I think it was 48 F-bombs you threw out, John. So you know,
$100 went to charity.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a small but mighty number, right? Like every little bit counts. Sticks make piles, piles make all sorts of things. Well, tell us a little bit, because you're obviously a lot of fun to hang out with. How can you keep that entertainment and engagement going? Is it, you know, is it the mix of having all 3 of you on there? Is it something where it's like, ooh, I definitely want to request that one person from the team? You know, what's the secret to having a virtual event or a hybrid event be entertaining?
God.
Well, it's literally, we're bringing the winery and the tasting room to your house.
It's so flexible. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's the advantage. The only thing you don't get to see is our beautiful cave and get to taste maybe all 26 wines that we make. I mean, we can, if you want to, we'll do a 3-hour Zoom and we'll taste you on 26 of them. But it's kind of hard to compare it to the tasting room, but I think it's as close, unless we get into Star Trek era where you can beam me up to somebody's house. This is as close as we're going to get to tasting rooms. And
I'm working on a hologram.
Hologram.
Is that what it is? Hologram?
Yeah, a hologram.
Yeah, hologram. Anyway,
Well, tell us a little bit, like, how does, oh, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
You said it's good that he doesn't have to be there.
I'm just going to have me sitting there, you know, in space.
Kind of like Star Wars, where like somebody little pops up and you're talking.
Yeah, they can talk to him. No big deal. I got to have all the stories for him and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Well, so what is the difference between coming in the cave versus coming online? Like how as we're trying to get people back to meeting safely, because you all started doing in-person tastings again when? 3 weeks ago, a month ago, longer than that?
Right after March, right?
Yeah, it was literally 3 weeks ago. We went into the orange, and then they set us back down to the red for about a week, and now we're back into the orange. So it's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we are starting. It's nice. People are coming back to
It's booking up.
People are coming back to Napa Valley, which is great. But we're still booking virtual events as well, because, you know, especially like it's a savings for companies as well. They don't have to spend as much money flying to
avenue.
Las Vegas.
I mean, really, we're definitely still going to be the tastings at the cave. I mean, that's just where, that's where we really grow our business. But for, like I was saying, you know, people haven't checked in for 10 years. Not everybody can fly around. And by God, what the hell? If we sell a little bit of vino, I'll sit here.
Yeah.
What the heck? Have a lot of fun. 2 hours goes by, and should I go back and have a little tequila and my life's okay? What the hell?
All right, well, guys, what question should we have asked you? If I'm an event manager and I'm wanting to come talk to Caldwell and I'm saying, you know, I've never heard of you before, because I thought it was interesting when we came out and did our wine tasting with Mario, we were actually in the tasting cave with a couple. One worked, I think it was at SAP, and the other one worked at Amazon. And it was like the friend of the friend network. And like, you're hard to find online. Are you the secret? And that's what makes you awesome? Or is that something where I need to go, like, as an event planner, I hit my local CVB up to ask questions? Why is it so tough to get in to see you all in person?
Because good things are hard to get.
We only do 4 a day.
We have an extremely limited permit to host people in the cave. I think I actually look at it as a very good thing that we're kind of hard to find on the internet. I think it kind of weed ourselves out to you know, the bachelorette parties just want to come and kind of drink and whatever. But I think it sets it in a very exclusive type of area.
Yeah, it does.
There's some wineries in Napa that are considered the cult wines, you know, Harlan, Screaming Eagles, things like that. And I would like to think of ourselves as very close to those wineries. We're very sought after. The wines, we have a very limited wine club. We have a limited number of wine club memberships available. We make a very limited amount of wine, and we don't distribute. So unless you actually come experience it or you do a virtual tasting, unless you know somebody that's been to the winery, you will never get to taste our wines. So
from an exclusivity perspective, it's always, for event managers, we're always trying to think of the ungettable get, right? Like, what do we have that no one else has? And I was reminded earlier today by another guest who came on, it's nice to share and to do that and to tell about these fun secrets that we found, just like discovering you. So kind of thinking in, where can we go? Can we find you online? What's the website? How do we book an event with you all?
Well, I think, CaldwellVineyard.com is our website. We're actually updating it right now, so it's going to be really cool in the coming weeks. But CaldwellVineyard.com. You can always give us a call. All our information is on there. You can always shoot me an email, and I can help you out. Jared at CaldwellVineyard.com. But one of the things that you mentioned, exclusivity, and we certainly have that. One of the really cool things that we do, I've been in the business, like I said, about 18 years. Is that, and I don't really know of any other winery that does this, we actually have a private barrel program. We keep that very exclusive just for our club members. So you can actually, if you're a club member, you can come and actually do a blending seminar with our winemaker and with John. We do a whole day event, and then you can actually create your own barrel of Cabernet. Well, now we've taken that virtually, and we are offering it. It is available. Very limited, but it is available for corporate gifting and that type of thing. So you can actually create your own bottle of wine with your company logo. I mean, and do a virtual blending with our winemaker and with John. We send you little samples and you make your barrel. We've done a few of those.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
You get your own 23 cases of wine.
Yeah, 288 bottles.
That's like
of
the
wine.
ultimate giveaway right there. I love that. That's something that's really magical, because usually the swag you leave events, it's like a notebook, or if they're feeling fancy, they're going to get you a nice leather bag or something that's really the cool pair of sunglasses. But I wouldn't say no to walking away with my very own barrel of wine for that kind of experience, especially if I got to kind of walk through it, because then eventually, once we're in, we can come back and see the vineyard in action when we can start to travel again. So that's really something special.
Yeah, it's incredibly unique, and it's something like we've seen it with like team building exercises, where you can actually you're making your own wine with our winemaker. You're getting incredible fruit.
You're a winemaker you're a winery for a day.
Yeah.
One day, one barrel.
So you get to do that, and then you can give it out to your employees as like, hey guys, you got an awesome job. Your sales team did a killer job this year. Here's a bottle of wine. Or for your clients, like your corporate gifting, we do specialize in corporate gifting. Send in wine for the holidays or throughout the year. So it's really cool.
Well, what's the one thing I should have asked you but I haven't yet? What's the one thing, if you want us to remember about Caldwell when we're leaving, around entertainment, engagement, excitement, and just plain fun?
Well, it's definitely the most unique tasting in Napa. Hopefully you're not easily offended, because there's a few curse words that fly, every couple minutes in the tasting room. But it's extremely unique. I've worked at 5-6 different wineries in Napa, and nothing's even close to what we do here. I guess a couple things that I guess you haven't asked or whatever is, just tell us when and we'll be there.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for making time today and coming and sharing these thoughts around it. Thank you for telling us about new and different ways, because we're always still trying to one-up our game, even when we can get back to only meeting in person. Like John said, we believe you here at Nifty Method. We think that, virtual is here to stay. Your new friends, go ahead and check them out at CaldwellVineyard.com. Shoot Jared an email at jared@CaldwellVineyard.com. And we're going to come back. We've got to wrap it up. What we're heading out for here is we're going to jump over and finish our day out strong over at the GMID parking lot party, catch up on all the other GMID events that have been happening around the world today. It's been a 2-day marathon with nothing but why meetings mean business, why meetings are fun, and really and truly why being event planner still remains to being one of the best jobs you can have. So if you've tuned in, or if you're catching this up when you're watching on demand, folks, we appreciate you. We think that you're doing an amazing job. If you're still hunting for a job, check out something like Soundings Connect, Happily.io. There's a lot of options out there. If you're working gig economy, we see you and we think you're rocking the socks off. And for those of us who've made it through 2020 and coming into 2021, I mean, at this point, they didn't fire you, right? You are still there. You are still taking chances. I kind of want to go back to what Scott was saying earlier today. Innovation in our world is like being invited to that dinner party. You start out in these chairs and then you just move around. And what can happen but great conversation and great ideas? And if that's not the reason that we continue to think up, design, work together, collaborate, create, and execute beautiful, amazing moments that matter from a festival perspective, from a corporate event perspective, from a Broadway play to an incentive meeting friends, I don't know what is. This is Lindsay from Nifty Methods signing off and saying thank you. We'll see you next year, GMID. Have a great day, and we'll see you over at the clubhouse for more GMID parking lot parties. Talk to you soon.
Global Events Collective is a nonprofit organization whose aim is to create a global community to share ideas, knowledge, research, and perspectives, all with the goal of promoting the understanding that events and hospitality foster human connection. Every day around the world, we come together to connect for moments that matter. We meet to share ideas, to uplift, to compete, to celebrate, to challenge ideas, to educate, to help, to advocate, to hack for good, to entertain, to play, to listen, to sing, to dance, to learn, to change the world, and to connect. To help amplify powerful moments that matter, we are creating a documentary that will explore and reveal stories about life-changing moments, moments of transformation, and the moments that have created communities. Your story matters. Your moments matter. We can't wait to share them. Get involved at globaleventscollective.org by donating, volunteering, or simply sharing your story of the moments that matter to you. Whether you're an advocate, a volunteer, an attendee, a partner, a donor, or a sponsor, the actions you take make a loud statement that events everywhere matter.